how to send out automated emails with embedded images. Today we're going to go through how to build out that Power Automate flow for this process. Hello from BI Consulting Services. This is Nicole coming back at you with new content today, all around how to send out automated emails with embedded images in it. And in this use case, I'm actually going to use the use case of an employee anniversary. So it's their anniversary or it's their birthday, either one, kind of use them interchangeably. But during an event, you want an automatic email to go out. And so today we're going to go through how to build out that Power Automate flow for this process. So really quick, I'm not going to recreate the list that I've got here. I'm going to show you this list. So I actually just basically used GPT and had it set up a file for me with about 10 records that had birth date, birth year, anniversary, an anniversary month, an anniversary year. And basically just to use this file so that if we wanted to send out an automatic email for either birthday or anniversary respectively, you can. So pretty straightforward there. And this is the Excel file I used and basically created a list on this Power Automate Videos SharePoint site that I'm using here. So the first step would be to, once you get into your SharePoint site, would be just to simply, from the actual SharePoint site main page, create a new list. You can call that list what you'd like. You can import that list from an existing Excel file or CSV file and then load that data in. The key when doing this, just for example's sake, let's just use this here, next, is just to make sure that every single one of the values kind of lines up. So if you use, this is a person group, that's fine. You just really want to make sure all the numbers are actually showing up as numerical values and things like that. So pretty straightforward, nothing super crazy. You would hit next, name the list what you'd like to name it, and then create it. I'm not going to recreate the list since I already have it here. I've named it employee anniversaries and birthdays. So pretty straightforward. All right, so let's get started with the Power Automate flow. All right, so there's a couple of ways you can actually create flows, and we are going to create a flow on a schedule. We'll call this flow and we will start the flow today and we'll have it run once a day. Don't kick me, I'm not using the new designer. I just hadn't gotten super used to that just yet. So I haven't sort of throttled or toggled my way into using it for purposes just yet. So we'll add a new step and we're gonna get items. And we're going to get items from SharePoint. We're going to be looking at multiple rows of data, so you just don't want to say get a single item. You're going to get multiple items from your SharePoint site. In this case, we're looking for the YouTube Power Automate Videos site. We're going to look for the list that we just referenced. And we're going to hit save. Just make sure that's kind of working the way that we anticipate. Pretty straightforward. The very next step, we need to add some filters. Good point. That's why I hit save every time, just to make sure in the event that I've skipped a step, it reminds me very nicely not to do that. Okay, so a couple of things that we're going to look for here, and I just want to show you how to find this inside of your SharePoint site list, just because it may be helpful. So if you're in your list, there is a site sort of list settings that you can go to. Inside of these list settings, you're going to see all the fields and variables that we reference inside of that list. And so we're going to look at the anniversary day column. We're just going to click it. When we click that column, if we go to the far right of our URL, we're going to actually see the field entry point. So unfortunately, you can't just look for anniversary day when you're doing this. You actually have to put in the field number or the number that's being referenced or the ID. And in this case, it's field equals 6. So we're going to grab that. we're going to go to your flow and we're going to start with field equals 6. And we're going to do the EQ for equation. And then we're going to go ahead and basically inside of this one single quote option here, and you can space or not space, there's no right or wrong to doing that. All right. Oops, I hid the wrong input. Give me 1 second. There we go. Trick it back to coming in. Add dynamic content. We're going to do an expression. And here we're basically going to use the sort of format date time option as our way of basically saying to the system, look in this field, we're going to look for the date and time, specifically the day, in UTC now. So we'll do the format date time. Make sure you guys can actually see that. UTC now, comma, and then we'll do D in quotes, single quotes. And we'll just hit OK. All right, so we'll open that back up. Just make sure folks can see it. Basically right here in this first subset of information, all we're doing is saying, hey, look for in field 3 the day. We're going to do the same thing for the next field that's referenced, because we're going to look at the day and then we're going to look at the month of which this employee anniversary occurs. So if we go back to the settings, we're going to look at the anniversary month column now. It should be field 7, I think. Yep, just wanted to make sure this one was going to be field 7. So we'll add the and sign in here. And we'll make sure we put the single quotes behind that. And then we'll do and we'll do the field 7, I believe it was. And I think I copied that. I did not copy that. Underscore 7. And same logic occurs here. I did just copy that in really quickly so we can kind of see what this function is going to look like. We will add it there. So again, you can see we just simply said, well, I better change this because it looks like it's still referencing the day, month. All right, let's make sure. Okay, just for sanity's sake, we're going to plug it in. Date, time, TC, comma. Okay, perfect. There we go. It likes that better. So we'll pause there. As you can see, we're looking at field 7 and field 6. And I did forget to put my equation in for this one. And we'll close it up as such. Okay, so I think that's good. Let's just hit the save button. It'll tell me if I messed up on anything. I like using that. It gives me a little bit of comfort that maybe I didn't make any huge mistakes. All right, perfect. So we added the filter details in. Now we'll go to our next step. So get file content. So really quickly, let me just, before I even go too far along in this journey, let me take you back to this SharePoint site and just take you to a simple documents folder, of which we've got a couple of images. In this case, we're going to use the anniversary image. And I'm also going to tell you a couple of things that could go wrong as you're kind of working through these file types too. So just things to keep in mind that I actually wrestled with as I was going through and doing this content. All right, but we've got the image here. I pulled this image from Shutterstock, and there are different sizes of files of which you can get from Shutterstock. I ended up getting the smallest file possible. Because I've got this image here. The size does make a difference when you're trying to import it the way that we're doing it in this content. It does make a huge difference that the size be small enough to fit inside what we're doing from a coding standpoint. So I just went in and instead of getting the largest one, which is like the default option that Shutterstock provides, I went in and got the smallest option after a couple of trial and error runs of just getting basically no image to display. So basically I would run my flow, no image would display at all. Even though it was downloading, it seemed like all the steps were working. The short of it is every single one of my emails that were coming out as a test email was coming out blank with no image. The text would show up where it'd say, hey, happy birthday, so-and-so, but my beautiful happy anniversary image was not displaying in the content. And so it was all because the JPEG file was too large. So just get the smallest version in those instances, so you don't have to kind of rack your brain and try and figure out, have you done a coding thing wrong or some other issue has arose. In this case, it was very simple. I just had too big of a file, image file out there. Okay, so the very next step will just be to get the file content, and that will come from SharePoint. And it is basically us going out to look for the image that I just showed you a second ago. So we'll go back to the YouTube Power Automate video, and we will go and we will find the document folder, of which has the anniversary image that we want to use. And I'll hit save again. I do that periodically throughout my process just to make sure that I don't make any huge mistakes. So the very next step is we're going to go ahead and do a compose. And it's going to be a data operations. We're going to do an expression here, in this case, a pretty straightforward one, base 64. And we're going to basically reference the file content. Let's put this in parentheses. Of the step above, right? So base 64 is basically just the expression I'm going to use to basically make sure that this loads the actual image, and it actually displays on the email and not just gives you either an empty image screen or no image at all. So again, we'll look at that one more time just to make sure you guys have that referenced. Oops, it seems like I kicked into the wrong spot. Wow, get really a lot of content in there. There we go. There we go. All right, so that is the next step, and then it gets just pretty straightforward from here. So we're going to simply send an email, and we'll use the V2 version of this, and we'll use the actual email from the site list that we created. So if you recall, if we go back to that list, we've got a field called employee email. So this is a people or group column inside of the list. And so it's super important to note that when you're doing this inside of your Power Automate flow, that you have to reference what basically the field associated with that. So that employee has a display name, they may have a picture, they have a department, a job title. They also have an email address associated with them. So basically the system's recognizing big support as the person, and that person has a whole bunch of different variables associated with it, including an email address. And you'll just notice as I did that, it looped through and gave us basically apply to each step. This is basically saying there could be more than one use case for this. There could be more than one time that this displays. So it's going out and saying get items, not just a single item. So it's going to kind of loop through and run this as many times as need be based on the criteria. So we're going to say, and we'll go ahead and just reference the person's name. Just referencing a simple email that you can put in there. And then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to shift over to basically the HTML code that's associated with this, right? So it's really the place to do a lot of your work. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in this. So it's basically the image source equals, and basically this is going to be us kind of referencing just a simple line of code that will help us basically make sure that the output we point to is going to display as an image. So you'll need to put in the double quotes, data, and this bit of code. So we'll give you a second to make sure you're following along and you can see that code pretty clearly. I'm going to reference the output that we just created up above. Then I'm going to close those quotes and the brackets associated with it as well. All right, I think that kind of covers that part. I'm going to go ahead and hit save again, one of my favorite things to do during these sessions. And then I'm going to go ahead and get Outlook popped up on screen. And that just made me realize one other thing that may be good. Change the settings of importance if need be, as well as if you want anyone to be CC'd on here, or sort of any other additional items that you find to be relevant. If you need to do that, you can do that here. I'm going to make this a high importance email, and that should do that. And then the next thing I'm going to do, just because this is the list we're using, is I want to look at the list and make sure that we've got some anniversaries. All right, so we got one for today, and I want to make sure it's using the right email address because that's important. So in this case, we're going to change this email to the email we're using for this session, just to make sure that once it does come over, we actually get it. We'll change, okay, it's 1010, perfect. All right, we'll make sure that's there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll change one more to 1010 too. Let's do this one. All right, so we did Ryan Miller and Sarah Johnson in our flow options. All right, we're gonna hit save. And then the very last step here, let's just go ahead and test our flow. So we're just gonna do a manual test of this flow now, and we'll hit run. We'll go to the run flow page just to see how things are going. All right, let's see what happened. We got a fail. Let's flip back to my favorite way to view things. Okay, so in my filter criteria, so let's make sure I didn't mess anything up in the get items step of this. Let's see what I got. Okay, that's an easy one. I just kind of messed up right here and got my, should be field _7 as opposed to how I had it before. And let's make sure that's like something right up against that. Let's hit save one more time. I think I fixed it. We'll see if I got it exactly right. I had my field referenced in the wrong spot. Let's hit test again. Let's test it. Let's run the flow. All right, said that it was successful. Let's see. All right, so as you can see, I need to probably do some formatting and center the image, but as you can see here on screen, thank you so much for your hard work and dedication, and you can see the image displayed for Sarah Johnson, and then same thing for Ryan Miller. So this is just a really quick video on, again, how to send out automatic emails for folks on work anniversaries. You can use this sort of process flow for all sorts of automation projects or scopes you may have going. Hopefully you found this to be a helpful video. If you have questions or if you want me to elaborate on a specific thing, feel free to let me know. But do keep in mind, make sure that your images and your image size are fairly low. I can show you just another way to do this, which is basically you could, instead of using an email or an image that you've saved on your SharePoint site, which is what we've done here, you can actually do a much simpler approach to that too. So right here we've got sort of this image output displayed where you can see the output basically, which is referenced up above in the happy anniversary JPEG. So again, just go out to Google and search for the words Google free images. All right, so I found an image that I think we can use. Here we go, it's right here. So you copy the image address, as you can see here, just copy that. I'm going to paste it in, and here you'll see the image. And so if you go to your flow, right here I've got just this base bit of logic in here, but just for the sake of showing you guys how it would work, if you can get a publicly displayed image that has no basically copyright restrictions, as you might want to call them, you can put those inside of here as well. So basically I just added that image source logic and closed this one up again, and we'll hit save. We'll hit test and we'll run. I think I added an extra. Uh-oh, let's see. Looks like I've went in and edited the wrong flow, which I do have this unique tendency of doing every once in a while. So let's hit done. Yeah, let's hit edit. This one looks good. Let's go ahead to the apply each step. Let's go to the send email step. Let's go here. Let's paste the URL in one more time. Open brackets, close brackets. Finish that one up and hit save. And let's fire the test one more time. All right, and then we'll go through the test emails. And as you can see, the image loaded. So again, you can do it one of two ways. You can basically grab a publicly displayed image that you can access and grab the URL for and paste it in, or you can save that file to a SharePoint site or a list just in case they ever, change or remove an image in browser. You do kind of run that risk if you use that option, but did want to show you just a couple of variations of how you can add images as you're going through things. If you have any questions, if you have feedback, comments, feel free to let us know in the comments section. And please feel free to subscribe to our channel. We are bringing out new content as often as possible, and we'd love to have you join in on the fun. We do send out polls and questions asking folks what content is most important to them. So we would love to hear from you. And as always, if you need support, training, or development and analytics in the future, feel free to call our team. We're excited to help you, and we appreciate your time today.